When a U.S. Senator calls out a defense secretary for turning the military into a political weapon, you know something deeper is wrong. What you're about to see isn't just a tense exchange, it's a warning about what happens when power goes unchecked.
Thank you, Senator Collins. Senator Murray and then Senator Graham.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Hegseth, you oversee one of the largest and most important organizations on planet Earth. More than anything, the Department of Defense needs stable, competent, and strategic leadership. And much as I had feared back in January, it is not what we are seeing under your leadership. In a matter of months, you have lost top aides and reportedly struggled to hire new ones. You have fired highly respected top military officials. You shared highly sensitive attack plans over Signal and apparently with people in your own personal circles, and you've not taken responsibility for those mistakes. All the while, the security challenges we face have grown larger, not smaller. And then in the face of these challenges, you have taken a series of actions that weaken our posture. For example, in my home state of Washington, which is home to many DoD installations critical to our Indo-Pacific strategy, you have pushed out almost 2,000 highly trained civilian employees, including at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. Mr. Secretary, you talk about returning the department to its mission of warfighting, but I am repeatedly hearing that your policy and personnel changes at the Pentagon are only undermining, not strengthening our military's preparedness to protect our country. You are deploying the American military to police the American people. You're sending the National Guard into California without the governor's request. Sending the Marines not after foreign threats, but after American protesters. And now President Trump is promising heavy force against peaceful protesters at his D.C. military parade. Those sorts of actions and that sort of rhetoric from a president of the United States should stop every one of us cold. Threatening to use our own troops on our own citizens at such scale is unprecedented, it is unconstitutional, and it is downright un-American. We should all be speaking out against this and demanding accountability. Now, Mr. Secretary, I have to say, for people who tout their commitment to transparency and efficiency, I've never seen an administration more bent on hiding basic facts from American people. Your department has been unresponsive to congressional inquiries and oversight requests, all the while you are working to muzzle the free press, denying journalists access to the Pentagon press corps. Now, before I turn to my questions, let me just note, it is now mid-June, and we only, just a few days ago, received some, but not all, important portions of your budget request. It should not have taken this long to get this request, and we do still need to see the justifications in order for this committee to do its work. We're missing those. Not having a full budget at this juncture is really unacceptable. So I am deeply concerned. So let me turn to my questions, and this is important. This administration has put the civilian workforce under attack from day one, encouraging resignations, firing probationary employees, instituting hiring freeze, requiring OPM to approve any new hire one by one, and now, new last week, requiring prospective employees to explain how they would, quote, help support the President's executive orders and policy priorities. We have spoken with military installations across our country. Almost all of them have been forced to fire skilled civilian employees who are badly needed. And all of them also have hundreds, and in some cases thousands, of new hires ready to bring on board, but now have to individually be reviewed by OPM, apparently to ensure that they support the President's priorities. Secretary Hegseth, I want to know, and keep your answer short, I have limited time, will you be firing more shipbuilders, yes or no?
Senator, we haven't fired shipbuilders. We've offered, through a right-sizing of our civilian positions, which
So
everyone in this committee would acknowledge that the Defense Department has had a bloated bureaucracy for a long
so
time,
you
have
you
given
will
a
not be-
voluntary process by which some people
we
can
all
choose
know
to
the
take a
process.
DRP.
I'm just asking
So
you a
it's not a
question.
firing of shipbuilders.
so
That's a
you're-
totally disingenuous characterization of what our
Let me
department is
just ask
doing. We
you,
are focusing on shipbuilding.
Mr.
ma'am.
Secretary, do we need more or fewer shipbuilders?
We are investing historically in our shipbuilding defense industrial base and workforce and ships in this budget, more than anything the previous administration ever
Okay.
did.
So, well, you managed to fire highly skilled workers, including my home state of Washington, for no reason. So let me just say, the Navy needs welders, not people who can recite a president's executive orders. If the Navy wants to hire a qualified candidate for the role, but that candidate happened to vote for or donate to Democrats, would they be hired?
Senator, there's never been a litmus test for hiring welders.
Well,
If you can weld, you can work at the Defense Department.
That is what they're being asked. And Mr. Secretary, I just have to say, we need to drop the politics in our military. We need to hire the best people. We do not need to force them out. That is simply the case at this point. I'm out of time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Graham.
Thank you. Welcome.
In this hearing, what begins as a formal line of questioning quickly turns into something much deeper, a confrontation over the very integrity of the U.S. military and the politicization of its leadership. Senator Patty Murray, measured but unmistakably firm, delivers one of the most direct rebukes of Secretary Pete Hegseth's leadership to date. Her tone isn't theatrical, it's the controlled urgency of someone watching a vital institution veer off course. She starts by reminding everyone that the Department of Defense isn't just another bureaucracy. It's one of the largest and most consequential organizations on Earth. It holds the responsibility for both national defense and, more symbolically, for the ideals America projects to the world: discipline, stability, and respect for the rule of law. But under Hegseth's leadership, Murray argues, that stability is slipping. She points to what she calls a troubling pattern: top aides leaving, respected officials fired, hiring slowed, and critical decisions clouded by secrecy. When she brings up the firing of thousands of skilled civilian employees, including in her home state of Washington, her frustration is palpable. These are not abstract policy debates, these are real people, workers who build the ships and systems that keep the military running. Murray paints a picture of a Pentagon that has become more focused on politics than performance, where loyalty to the president's executive orders is valued more than professional competence. What really gives this exchange its weight, though, is the constitutional undertone. Murray reminds the room, and by extension the country, that the U.S. military exists to defend Americans, not to police them. She draws a clear line between protecting the nation and using military force against citizens, calling such actions unprecedented, unconstitutional, and downright un-American. That's not just rhetoric, it's a warning. Because if the military starts enforcing political agendas at home, the line between democracy and authoritarianism begins to blur. Secretary Hegseth's response, in contrast, is defensive and managerial. He insists that these aren't firings, but voluntary right-sizings, part of an effort to streamline the department's so-called bloated bureaucracy. He speaks in the language of efficiency, about voluntary processes, defense industrial bases, and historical investments, but avoids addressing the core of Murray's critique, that experienced workers are being pushed out under the pretext of loyalty tests and political alignment. Murray doesn't let him off the hook. Her follow-up question is as sharp as it is symbolic. If a qualified shipbuilder voted for a Democrat, would they still be hired? It's a question that cuts to the heart of the issue, whether political loyalty is now creeping into places it doesn't belong, even into the ranks of welders and engineers who serve the defense mission, not a political one. This isn't just a clash between a senator and a cabinet secretary, it's a snapshot of a larger struggle within American governance, between competence and ideology, professionalism and partisanship, constitutional duty and political convenience. What Murray is really doing here is drawing attention to a trend that's easy to miss: the slow erosion of apolitical institutions, where every decision, from hiring to deployment, becomes a political calculation. By the end of her questioning, Murray reasserts a principle that feels almost old-fashioned in today's political climate. Drop the politics, hire the best people, and stop using patriotism as a partisan tool. It's a call for integrity, for remembering that the strength of the U.S. military has always rested not just on weapons or budgets, but on the competence and dedication of the people who serve, both in uniform and behind the scenes. And in that sense, this exchange goes beyond policy. It's a reflection of a deeper concern that the machinery of government is being reshaped to serve political loyalty rather than the public interest. Murray's tone isn't just confrontational, it's protective, almost pleading. Because when institutions built on discipline and impartiality begin bending toward political influence, the damage isn't immediate, it's gradual, silent, and deeply corrosive. Moments like this hearing remind us why congressional oversight matters, why senators pressing for transparency and accountability isn't just political theater, but a safeguard against normalization of executive overreach. It's easy to overlook these hearings as partisan squabbles, but they're often where the quiet battles for the country's democratic integrity are fought. At Left Lens, we don't just replay these moments, we unpack them. Because understanding what's at stake here isn't about taking sides, it's about seeing how the principles of democracy, civilian oversight, and institutional integrity play out in real time. If you care about transparency, accountability, and keeping politics out of the military, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned.